So DeSantis drops out. Pretty amazing when you think about it. Pretty amazing. 2 years ago, it seemed like Trump was dead to rights, myself included. I mean, Turtle Boy, lots of us said we just got to move on from Trump. I was so mad about COVID. I still am. And I don't think Trump did nearly enough to arrest that. I don't. Still mad that Trump went after Brian Kemp when Brian Kemp was the best governor when it came to COVID by far. 10 times better than DeSantis, Kristi Noem, all these guys. Kemp was the man, and Trump went after him. Still pissed me off. Trump picks his battles poorly a lot of times. I mean, that's the thing. He's a brawler. That's what I love about Trump. That's what drives me crazy. Is he'll brawl you. You take the wrong side of Trump, he's going to fight you. He doesn't care if you're an ally 20 seconds ago or not. You got to have a thick skin to compete with the Trumpster. But anyway, then the indictments came around, and people like me just got pissed. They said, this is nuts, dude. This is insane. And DeSantis ran a weak campaign too, by the way. Like, why are you running DeSantis? We all knew you should have ran. And the fact was, the Trump loyalists stood by him. And I got nothing but respect for those people. Jill and all these other guys, they stood by Trump. And I was ready to bail. And hell, I was ready to not even vote. Because I said, the COVID stuff pissed me off. The fact that, Fauci, Francis Collins, these guys should be in prison. And they're not. No one on the other side is in prison for COVID. Yeah, people from January 6th are in prison for what that psyop was. I don't blame Trump for the January 6th thing. I just like the idea, though. I don't blame Trump for not prisoning Fauci. I don't blame him for that. But it happened under his watch. And ultimately, in leadership, the buck stops at the top. And Trump was on the wrong side of it. He just was. But, our side underwon. That's just a fact. Whenever. I highly suspect Trump doesn't say many kind words on vaccines anymore. Remember, he got booed in Alabama for saying the vaccine. I think Trump has learned not to do that anymore. I don't know. I don't watch his speeches or anything because, frankly, it just bores me. But the facts are we won. It was a long struggle, but we won. But DeSantis was the best governor other than Kemp. He was better than Kristi Noem. I just crushed. Just wasn't ready yet. And it's too bad. Unfortunately, he should never ran. You got to be able to read the room, DeSantis. And that's my concern with him. I'm not quite sure he's got the political instincts to read the room. Some people, hey buddy, will have political instincts to read the room because they have no moral code. And the room they're reading, Nikki Haley comes to mind, is the room that her caretakers want her to be in, if that makes sense. So she reads the room of the globalist elite establishment. Dan Crenshaw comes to mind. Some guy was up here saying, well, Dan Crenshaw says this about the border law. I said, dude, you think Dan Crenshaw's a populist Republican? He was a Navy SEAL. Well, so is Jesse Ventura. I don't care. Just because you did something in your past doesn't mean I'm going to vote for you, for heaven's sake. It was kind of like, I'm not going to vote for, people didn't vote for Herschel Walker in Georgia, even though Herschel Walker was the best running back in college football history. Just because you did something in your past doesn't mean I'm going to vote for you, man. It's what you're going to do in the future that matters. Which kind of goes back to the Trumpster. All this stuff, well, Trump did this, Trump did that. Well, yeah, he did. And when he looked like he was down and out, I'm telling you, there's a time about 2 years ago, it looked like he was done. And then the indictments start coming. And then the people start piling on. Vivek, all these people, like, oh, you should have did something differently in January 6th. I mean, it's stupid. All these guys, Vivek, man. Vivek is our version of Obama, I'm telling you. And I'll upload a thing comparing Vivek to Obama. Almost identical words. It's crazy, dude. You're like, dude, come on, Vivek. But he says a lot of words. There's bound to be something that sounds like Obama. I'm just a skinny guy with a funny last name. Obama said that. And guess who else said it? Vivek. A couple other things that are like literally verboten from Obama. I just don't trust that guy. But Vivek is he can read the room himself. He's reading the room of who he needs to appeal to, which is the populist base, and he gets it. I mean, to his credit, he's reading the room. He said, "This is what these people want. I'm going to give it to them. I give them the red meat they want." You know, that's good politician for sure. Doesn't mean he's a good leader, because when the room changes, you got no moral code. You're going to say what Trump did was deplorable, or whatever the hell he said about January 6th. Can't trust that guy to save my life. Now, would I want him as Secretary of State? Hell no. Would I want him, as a press secretary? Hell yeah. I'd love to have Vivek as press secretary, because he's smart, he's quick, he's witty. I like it. I just don't trust that. I don't want him being my leader of a free country. Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Would he sell Trump down the river? Well, he hadn't, yeah. I mean, he was looking like he was gonna. And then he read the tea leaves. He said, the anti-Trumpers are going to come out in force. I'm going to come out to be the pro-Trump, non-Trump. And he read it. He said, yeah, a good move politically for him. Anyway, at the end of the day, DeSantis, all these people are saying DeSantis is done for. I'm like, dude, do you not remember Sniffy Joe? Sniffy Joe ran in '88 and got shellacked because of plagiarism. Sniffy Joe was sniffing little girls and came back and won. For some reason, the feminists didn't care about that. Sniffy Joe was swimming naked in front of women's Secret Service. Sniffy Joe's family is corrupt as the day is long. Dude, I used to know that. I used to work in a bar right outside of Key Bridge in Washington, D.C. So you have in Arlington, Virginia, you got Georgetown, and then you go over the Key Bridge, and you basically could walk from Georgetown to my bar. We used to hear all the time about Sniffy Joe's family, coke addicts, and all. It was crazy, man. On top of that, we used to hear about some pretty prominent Republican staff members, too, dealing in illicit drugs. Literally dealing, if that makes sense. Was it all true? Probably not. 50% truth was bad enough. Let's just put it this way. Some pretty prominent Republicans from the 94 had staff members who were dealing in illicit drugs. Just FYI. All the time, Sniffy Joe was passing the Clinton crime bill. And then in 94, Republicans took over the House and Senate, and they got more tough on crime. Crazy. Anyway, so don't write off DeSantis yet. He should not have run this time. But again, I fell for it. I thought Trump was dead to rights. I said, no one's going to support Trump. He kept freaking talking the vaccines. But then he read the room. People didn't want to hear it. Remember, he got booed in Alabama for bringing up the vaccine. Booed. Trump's a brawler, dude. He's going to knock you around if he has to. And that's the problem with Trump, is he takes all comers, allies or not. You get on Trump's bad side, he's coming after you. Which is great when he's coming after your opponents. Not so great when he's coming after people like Brian Kemp. It's like, dude, what are you doing, Trumpster? Well, that's what you get, You get what you get. You want a brawler, he's going to brawl. No one stopped him. Anyway, I wouldn't write off DeSantis yet. His governorship of Florida was quite impeccable. The homeowners insurance stuff is going to come back and bite somebody. I'm just telling you right now. I'd almost not want to be I don't know what our term was in Florida, be governor. I'm not sure. I would almost not want to be the next governor of Florida, frankly, because that's going to be a big issue. Yeah, it's kind of like property tax in Texas. Those are big issues. They're localized issues, and they're not right versus left issues. That's for sure. I'd be hesitant to be that, because there's going to come, the propping up of the Citizens Insurance Company, public-private partnership to have homeowners insurance for people, and those always fail ultimately. It's kind of like the flood insurance, FDIC insurance, PBGC insurance. All this stuff always fails. The Citizens Insurance Company in Florida, because when the public-private partnership comes to be, there's always enough to kick the can down the road, and then you have to pay it. At some point, you got to pay the piper, because there's never enough revenue to cover the expenses, the liabilities. Someone's going to take that on, and it's going to piss a lot of people off. They say, don't raise my taxes, don't raise my fees. And you can't build a house on a freaking ocean front and not expect hurricane damage, and not to expect to have to be subsidized insurance by other taxpayers. It's not fair, dude. You build a house on a Hurricane Alley, you're going to have to pay the fee for it. And the fee is going to be a hell of a lot higher than someone who's not in Hurricane Alley. And those are the people with the money, though. And as such, those are the people who have more power in their local politics than people who live in the hinterlands of Florida. So they'll carry more pull. And what's going to happen is they're going to drive, if you start making an equal distribution of homeowners insurance fees across the state to people who aren't in a flood zone or aren't in a hurricane zone, they're not going to be too happy with it. Even if you make the people on the coast happy with it, you see what I'm saying? Because you can't subsidize the wealthy on the backs of the poor and middle class. But that's what's going to probably have to come down, is something along those lines, and someone's going to get mad. And if you charge a market rate for homeowners insurance for the coastal elite, they're not going to be happy with it either. And those are people who got the money, so they're going to stop giving you as much money. And then you see how that goes. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. This always comes to fruition. It's always a 20 to 30 year kick the can down the road, maybe 15 year. And then there's a new governor in place. No different than stupid John Kasich and his Medicaid expansion in Ohio. Obama was funding the state of Ohio to expand Medicaid. And then once Obama and John Kasich were gone, all of a sudden that bill is sent to the taxpayers of Ohio. And John Kasich got to say, look, we expanded Medicaid and we had a budget surplus. Yeah, because you're getting money from the federal government. Those days are over now, and now the state of Ohio has to pay the bill. And that's what happens, man. When you roll with the pigs, you get crap all over you. And the pigs in this case are the federal government for sure. Like, same thing. The Republicans do the same thing. I mean, my goodness. But at the end of the day, Republicans should know better than Democrats. If you're going to negotiate with snakes like Obama and Sniffy Joe, it will always come back to haunt your taxpayers, if not you. That's why a guy like Nikki Haley, or a chick like Nikki Haley, or a guy like Kasich can't be trusted, man. Because their political instincts are bad in terms of building a populist majority. They just want to be elected and get money. Did you hear that Nikki Haley now has a luxury mansion? What she had, I was just reading about her after she left the State Department. She had a luxury mansion, $200,000 something in South Carolina. You know, getting it's $200,000 speaking engagements or something. It's freaking sickening, dude. These people go to politics to get rich. Trump's the only guy who went into politics who got poor. And if there's ever a reason you need to vote for that guy, that's it. I just know I'm for Trump because the alternatives, to include DeSantis, are weak, man. They're just not there. You know what I'm saying? So even though I was against Trump 2 years ago, I've changed my mind, man. And that's the thing about politics. Don't forget, Sniffy Joe is dead to rights, dude. Dead to rights. He came in 5th in New Hampshire. He came in 4th in Iowa. Somehow, supposedly, we're supposed to believe that James Clyburn supported him in South Carolina. And just because James Clyburn supported him and was going to deliver the black votes, all of a sudden, all the people who previously smoked Sniffy Joe just went out of their way. They said, okay, Sniffy Joe, you got it. Come on. James Clyburn. I mean, you ask any black guy, random black guy who James Clyburn is, they're not going to know. So what? He could deliver South Carolina. Wow. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, all the competitors just stepped aside for Sniffy Joe because James Clyburn was a kingmaker. Come on. If you think they didn't have goods on all these other clowns, you're crazy. Biden was selected, not elected. And as such, that's what we got to deal with. And who knows what's going to happen in 2028. In fact, I don't even know. Is Trump, can he get reelected? I mean, can he serve, get beat, supposedly, and then get reelected, and then win, and then reelected? Or you only have 2 terms over the course of one's life? I don't know the answer to that. So if anyone of you do, let me know. All right, God bless you.